Hello there, kids. Today we are going to talk about the relationship between multiplication and division. Just to let you know that multiplication is actually just the opposite of division. Okay? Multiplication is just the opposite of division. What do you mean by that? For example, we have 3 times 4. Okay? So if we have three groups of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Three groups yan. We have 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 groups of 4. And if you're going to count the total number of circles we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The answer to 3 times 4 is 12. Okay. So let me just remove this part. This can actually be related to division. Okay. So for example, we have our product here as 12. What are you going to do with 12? So if it's in division form, it can be equivalent to making use of any of this value, 12 divided by 3. So if you notice, we used 12 and 3. 12 divided by 3 will give you 4. And if you're going to do it the other way around, 12 divided by 4. So in this case, we made use of 12 and 4. So what's missing in the equation is 3. So which means 12 divided by 4 will basically give you 3. Okay, just to show you that logic there. Unahin natin to. We'll show this example first. What is 12 divided by 3? So we have 12 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12 divided by 3 actually means to group 12 into 3 equal groups. Okay? It doesn't tell you to group by 3. Okay? This is wrong. You are not supposed to group it by 3. Your answer will basically be wrong here. This will be wrong kasi what the sentence is telling you, what this division sentence is telling you is to divide 12 into 3 groups. Okay, but how many groups do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So you have to work around to find a way that you will be able to group it by 3. Okay, only 3 groups lang talaga. So in this case, we have 4. So let's try to group it the different manner. Let's try to include 4. We have 1, 2, 3. Okay. We were able to group it into 3 groups. Now the question is, do we have 3 equal groups? Equal ba? Sige nga, let's try to count how many units there are inside. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 units for each group. So which means 12 divided by 3, or to group 12 into 3 equal groups, in this case, we have 4 units each. which gave us the answer here. Okay? That's the logic of division. Okay. Now, once you'll get confused, like what your book gave you, kasi it's actually hard to do it this way, like what we did earlier. No? Medyo mahirap yan. It's actually hard because you have to guess. But in this case, for example, for page 68, no, let's take page 68. Okay. It says there for number 1, divide 20 bottle cups into 2 equal groups. Okay, let me write that down. Okay, it says here that you have to divide 20 bottle cups into 2 equal groups. So, ano nga ba ang gagawin natin dito? Okay, you're asked or you are tasked to group 20 bottle cups into 2 equal groups, which means it is safe to say that you can write this equation down as 20 divided by 2. Okay, given the drawing for number 1, medyo it's easy for you to group. It's actually easy for you to group, no? But for other numbers, medyo mahirap. Okay. So, I'm going to teach you a technique how to answer this the easier way. Okay. So, for example, in this case, you have 20 divided by 2. You can write it down as what are you can ask yourself basically, what are you going to multiply with 2? That will give you 20. Okay? So if you have memorized your multiplication table like what I asked you to, this will be easier for you. But if you did not, then you're going to have a hard time doing this because like what I've said earlier, multiplication is just the opposite of division. Okay, so if you did not memorize the process last week that I asked you to, this will be difficult for you. Okay? So for those who memorized, good job. For those who did not, you still have time to memorize. Okay? Memorize nyo kasi this will really help you when it comes to division. Multiplication is the key to division. So please do memorize the multiplication table. Okay? So anyway, ito. What will you multiply to 2? That will give you 20. Okay? In other words, you can rewrite this sentence, 20 divided by 2, as 2 times blank equals 20. For those who memorized, you must have been shouting the answer since earlier. And the answer is 10. 2 times 10 equals 20. So since 10 is the missing value here, you can write 10 here as the answer from 20 divided by 2. Okay? So, paano nga ba yan ulit? Let's try another one. What is, let's say, 18 divided by, let's say, 3? You don't know the answer. What you can do now, again, yung first digit nyo, first number rather, that is actually the sum for multiplication. Okay, take note of that, just like earlier. Okay. So, asking yourself the question, what is 3 multiplied to what number? Okay, 3 is multiplied to what number that will give you 18? Again, if you have memorized the multiplication table, this will be a lot easier for you. And the answer here is 6. 3 times 6 will give you 18, which means 18 divided by 3 will give you 6. Okay? Madali lang yan. If you have memorized the multiplication table. Okay? So this is basically very easy. Okay. Another one, the activity left for you for page 71 to 72. Last activity ninyo. Okay? Okay, so for your page 71, to 72, this is how you answer this. Okay, first is to identify how many groups you have. You have 1, 2, 3 groups. Okay, you write it there for the first line. Okay. Next is to count how many pieces are there inside, or how many units are there in each group. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you now have a multiplication sentence that says 3 times 5. And if you have memorized your multiplication table, by now you should know that the answer is 15. Okay. Now, Teacher Mark, what am I supposed to do with the next line? Okay. One thing about multiplication is, even if you're going to switch the numbers, okay, in this case, we wrote 3 and 5 here, correct? You wrote 3 and 5, which means even if you're going to interchange their places, even if you're going to write 5 here multiplied to 3, it will still give you the same answer. Okay, as easy as that. All you have to do there in the second line is just to interchange the number for you to see that even if you're going to interchange the numbers, the multiplicand and the multiplier, it will still give you the same product. Okay? Now, Teacher Mark, what will we do with the next two sentences, the division sentence? Okay. Get your product, take your product, 15, and write them here. Okay. So, pick any number between the given multiplicand or the multiplier, which is 3 and 5. So, write nyo muna dito ang 3. Let's say 3. 15 divided by 3. So, alam nyo na that it's just the opposite. 3 times 5 will give you 15. So, 15 divided by 3 will give you 5. And so, for division, 15 divided by 5 will basically give you 3. Okay? So, that's basically the relationship between multiplication and division. So, madali lang. Especially if you memorized your multiplication table. Again, if you did not memorize your multiplication table, kindly take time to memorize it. Okay? So, that's it for today.